All right, let's talk about something that I think we all want more of: peace. We hear all the time that to find it, you've got to get away from everything. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the real secret isn't about escaping your life, but about learning how to manage your energy inside of it? Today, we're going to break down 6 really powerful strategies for protecting your peace. And the best part is, you don't have to cut everyone out of your life to do it.
Does this sound familiar? You're just feeling drained, pulled in a million different directions. Your social battery is at 0. And the common advice, the thing we all think, is that the only way to fix it is to just disappear. Go off the grid for a while. But let's be real, that's not always an option, and it might not even be the right answer anyway.
And this is where it gets interesting, because the choice isn't just between chaos and complete isolation. There's a third option, and it's so much more powerful: boundaries. And look at the difference here. Isolation, that's about avoiding the world. But boundaries, that's about staying in the world, but on your own terms. It's not avoidance, it's an act of self-respect. It's you deciding how you want to live.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at what I called the peace paradox. Then we'll get into the practical stuff with 2 sets of strategies: your rules of engagement for dealing with others, and your internal filter for managing yourself. And we'll wrap it all up with something I call the real relationships test. So this is really the core idea of this whole explainer. True, lasting peace, you don't find that by running away to a deserted island. It's actually a skill you build. It's the ability to stay calm and centered right in the middle of all the chaos of your actual life. It's not about avoiding the storm, it's about learning to be the calm in the middle of that storm. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. This first group of strategies is all about how you deal with the outside world. These are the real, tangible rules you can put in place to manage your energy and your time. Think of them as your first line of defense. All right, strategy number 1 is an absolute game changer. Set boundaries without feeling the need to over-explain them. We all do this, right? We feel like we have to write a whole essay just to justify a simple no. But here's the thing. All that explaining actually makes your boundary weaker. It sounds less like a statement and more like you're asking for permission.
So instead, try this: a calm, simple, clear statement like, "I'm not available for that." It's so powerful. Why? Because it's not a request. It's not an apology. It's just a fact. It's a standard you're setting for yourself, and it communicates confidence and self-respect without you having to say another word.
Strategy number 2 is something you have to remind yourself of constantly. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. I want you to think about your energy as a limited resource, because it is. And every single day, people will try to get you to spend that energy on their drama, their negativity, their arguments. But the key word here is invited. It's an invitation, and you always, always have the right to RSVP no. This totally reframes what it means to be quiet. We often see silence as weakness, like you're giving up, but it's not. It's an active, strategic choice. It's you taking back the steering wheel and deciding, nope, this conversation isn't worth my energy. You're saving your fuel for the roads that actually matter to you. And strategy 3 builds right on top of that. You have to control access to your time and energy. We live in this world where everyone expects you to be on call 24/7, but you don't have to be. Limiting when you reply to texts or take calls isn't rude, it's absolutely essential self-management. You are the gatekeeper. And the psychology behind this is so interesting. When you're always available, people get comfortable. They might even start taking your time for granted. But when you limit that access, suddenly your time, your attention, your energy, it's seen as more valuable. It subtly teaches people to respect your time and your space. Okay, so we've talked about the external stuff, the rules of engagement with the world. But now we've got to turn inward, because protecting your peace isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. These next few strategies are all about building your own internal filter to manage your mindset. Strategy number 4 is like a mental superpower, I swear. It's learning to observe, not absorb. So you can be in a room with someone who's really angry or negative. You can notice it, you can see it clearly, but you don't have to let it soak into you. It's kind of like watching a rainstorm from inside your house. You see it happening, you acknowledge it, but you're not the one getting wet. And there's a name for this skill: emotional detachment. Now, I know that can sound a little cold or uncaring, but it's really the opposite. It's a skill of emotional control that lets you be there for people without getting dragged down into their emotional whirlpool. You can see what they're feeling, but their emotional state doesn't have to become your emotional state. This brings us to strategy number 5, and this one might be the most subtle, but it's so important. It's not always about cutting people off completely. Sometimes it's just about adjusting their closeness. Real peace comes from thoughtfully placing people in your life, not from total isolation. It's like you're the host of a party. You get to decide who gets a front row seat and who's better off mingling by the snacks. And this chart is a perfect way to visualize it. You've got your inner circle, right? These are the people who get full access. Then you've got another ring for people you have more limited, specific interactions with. And finally, there's an outer ring for people you keep at a respectful distance. See? They can still be in your life, but you control how much access they have to your energy. And our final strategy, number 6, is all about maintenance. Because peace isn't a destination you just arrive at one day. Nope. It's a state you have to actively maintain. If you don't take the time to consciously clear out all the mental junk that builds up, it will eventually overwhelm you. You need a daily reset. And the great news is, this doesn't have to be some huge, complicated thing. We're talking 10 to 20 minutes a day. That's it. Maybe for you, it's just sitting in silence. Maybe it's going for a walk or writing in a journal. The method doesn't matter as much as the goal, to consciously sift through the day and clear out all that emotional clutter. Think of it as daily hygiene for your mind. So we've gone through all these strategies, and it all leads us here to the final truth. This is the ultimate test that shows you just how healthy your relationships are and how well your new boundaries are working. Just let that sink in for a second. Read it again. This is so important. Setting boundaries is the ultimate filter. The healthy, real relationships in your life, they will survive. They might even get stronger. The only people you risk losing are the ones who are taking advantage of the fact that you didn't have any boundaries to begin with. So in the end, it all really boils down to these 3 things. You need the awareness to even notice when your peace is under attack. You need the discipline to actually use these strategies even when it's hard. And most importantly, you need the deep down self-respect to believe that you are worthy of having peace in your life in the first place. And that brings us to the end. But before you go, I want to leave you with a question, a little piece of homework. Don't just let these ideas float around in your head. Try to apply one, just one. So what is one boundary, even a small one, that you will protect for yourself this week?